I don't know how many of you are familiar with Liz Harrington. Liz Harrington is Donald Trump's sort of Soviet style spokeswoman. North Korean propaganda agents have seen Liz Harrington and her videos, and it makes them blush. It's really something else. She is making the unfounded claim, and this is sort of, we've seen it evolve over time. First, it was the FBI planted the documents. Then it was there were no documents. Then it was they were there, but they were Trump's right to have because he declassified them. But the classification didn't matter. So then it was back to, well, the FBI planted. It's a circle. It's just a revolving door. It's like a hamster wheel of throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Liz Harrington is now going back to Biden and his administration have directed this entire thing. Check out her interview on the water cooler on Real America's Voice.
How much do you think the Biden administration is involved with this, specifically Joe Biden? Then again, with Joe Biden, we're never quite sure what he knows at this point with all the faux pas. But what's your sense about the Biden administration? How much do you think this is going to trail back to them?
Well, I mean, similarly to what happened with the Russiagate, right? I mean, it's mostly largely the
Russiagate,
same people that were involved in the Obama-Biden administration and the setting up the false accusations of Russia collusion with the Clinton campaign. But that was all spun into motion during the transition period, using, this lawfare, but also the intelligence community against their political opponents. So I think they're very much involved. I think it's very much the same people. And that's what we really need, I think, to your point, David, the answers to. We need accountability here.
Yeah. And so she says it's obvious that Biden was very, very involved. And also throwing in during another moment of the interview, Trump can have whatever the hell he wants at his house.
The big question still does remain about why President Trump had these records there down at Mar-a-Lago in the first place. Is there anything you can tell us about that? I think that's kind of one thing that's still been out there, and people trying to understand that. At least the layperson is trying to understand.
Because it's completely not understandable unless it's for nefarious reasons or unless Trump wants to pretend to still be president.
I think the key point here is the Presidential Records Act. Presidential. He's the president. And the fake news media is trying to pretend that he wasn't, or that he was just some, paper pusher like these bureaucrats at the National Archives. No, he's the president. He is correspondent. He had every right to keep whatever he wants and possess whatever he wanted to. And obviously, when he left the White House, he took some documents with him. It was his prerogative.
Now, understand that not only is that not true, it doesn't actually answer the question. The question was, why did Trump want the documents? And there really is no benign explanation. It's the explanations go from bad to very, very bad to really, really bad, like treasonous bad. And her answer is both not an answer to the question, but it's also not true that he can just take whatever he wants. Even Republican strategist Karl Rove said on Fox News the other night, these are simply not Trump's documents to take. You don't just declassify things by saying, I wish them declassified, and things are not de facto declassified because Trump, stuck them in his pants or in a box and took them to his house. So really just Soviet style propaganda there from Liz Harrington. And we have to hope. Here's the hope. OK, I've said before, I think Trump's getting indicted. I don't think he's going to prison. There has been a lot of really bad stuff that went on here. And it seems clear that at least some people committed crimes. If no one ends up seeing consequences for what has gone on, it will be a major indictment of the two-tiered American justice system. Not that we need more indictments of it. It's been indicted plenty. We've seen that over the last decade. But it would be a real injustice if there are no consequences for what went down. And all we can do is continue to wait and see.